A long time ago, I was with a friend of mine, and his grandmother was in the hospital dying, and he wanted me to take her go see her. I was young, and she was dying. She had terminal illness. She knew she was dying. She asked her grandson to come see him, so I took him. We go in the hospital room, and, she was in. So I was standing behind him. We was at her bed. She said to him, she said, "Do you know your great-grandfather's name?" My boy said, "No, Mom, dear, I don't know his name." She said, "You know why you don't know his name?" He said, "Why, Mom, dear?" She said, "Because he ain't leave you nothing." She said, "When you walk away from my bed, you ain't going to see me no." She said, "Go live your life so your children's grandchildren will know your name. Live a life where your children's grandchildren will know who you was, man. That they know your name. But they ain't gonna know your name if you wasn't great. They ain't gonna know your name if you don't leave them something. You cannot leave your family, your job." My mom and dad, as great as they was, they left me empty-handed. But boy, the church she put in me, the God she put in me, my father instilled in me manhood. Do what you say you're gonna do. Them two things from that Sunday school teacher and that coal miner shaped and formed who you standing in front of today. This who in front of you. Somebody, but that lesson that grandmother taught that dude, it wasn't for him. It was for me. See, God just sent me there that day, but I needed to hear that. And ever since then, I've been trying to make my life so my children's grandchildren will know who I was when I leave this earth. That's what you gotta do. You ain't gotta clap for me. I don't really care. Look, man, I'm gonna teach you 4 things real quick. Now, people told me one time, said, "Steve, you missed your calling. You should have been a preacher." No, I cuss way too much. I'm the last person need to be in a pulpit. I promised Dr. Boyd I wasn't gonna cuss today. Now, I wanted to 3 times already, but I haven't, because Dr. Boyd said this is a dignified event. So I'm just going to honor that. Me personally, I don't see nothing wrong with cussing. Somebody said, "But Steve, his kids in here." All your kids done heard cussing. And if they haven't, I recommend you start, because it cuts back on butt whippings. Lesson 1 is live your life so your children's grandchildren will know who you are. Go be great, y'all. Take this degree and make it more than just a piece of paper hanging on the wall. Take this degree and go change some lives with it. Put pressure on yourself. Go out there and ask God to help make you great. Don't go be regular. I don't really care for regular. I never really wanted a regular life. I wanted an extraordinary life. I've been asking God for this my whole life. Now what he gave me is grace. Way more than I ever asked for. I ain't never thought I'd be. Look, I already know. Y'all could have had a bigger star come down here. Somebody with a bigger name could have. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. No. I don't even know why I said that. I tried to be humble, but let's quit front. You know good and well, I'm all that in a bag of chips. I'm Steve Harvey, man. Dr. Phil don't even know where your school at. Ellen thought ASU was Arizona State. Y'all got who wanna be here. I come down here, man, because I wanna come down here. Look. And bottom line, it's a lot. It's a diverse people in here. But can I tell you something? I love black people. I love black people my entire life. I ain't never shunned away from the fact that I was black. I starred on BET. I still go on BET. I know where it come from. Black people made me famous first. I crossed over, but my crossover was different. I built a bridge, and I let everybody come over here see how I am. But I didn't get on the bridge and go over there. Because see, when the bridge burned down, you got to be able to get back home. I never left home. So I've been this here the whole time. That's no disrespect to anybody sitting in here. I just got to talk real with you. Now, if you didn't want real, you should have had somebody else come down here. But this is the truth of the matter. Now, second thing I want to teach you. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. You got to learn this one now. I want you to learn how to fail and win anyway. Because this is what you're going to have to do. Because let me tell you something. As successful as you've been up to this point, once again, I congratulate you to the fullest. But let me tell you something. You about to get to fail. Because you finna taste life like it really is.
Bill Bailey and I have been involved in other enterprises. But the enterprise, fortunately was successful. And we had a chance to affect a lot of other people's lives. But guess what happened over those years, and which continues to today? We continue to invest in each other. I come up with a great idea, I get on the phone, I call him. He comes up with a book he's read, just said, "This is a masterpiece, you've got to read it." So we have this chance to invest each other. And while we walk the farm country of Kentucky, we invest in each other. We walk the beaches of California, and he has a habit of grabbing your arm when you're walking and talking. So he would grab my arm until this one would get sore, and then we'd trade places so he could, grab the other arm for a while we're walking and talking. But a chance to contribute to each other. And what I share with him, he shares with others. And what he shares with me, I share with you and others around the world. That contribution of sharing with each other, being influential, leadership, making a contribution to someone's life that no telling how far it may go from the time it starts. Friendship is, it's one of the most valuable possessions in the world. Good friends, relationships. What really matters when we all get right down to it is that inner circle, when we should spend as much time as possible, maximum time, maybe borrow a little from other things that aren't quite that valuable, that are essential but not quite that valuable, and spend more time, family, inner circle, close friends, because that's where a lot of the drive and ambition to do well comes from. Making dreams come true for that inner circle, you and them, furnishes the fuel for high ambition. Not to be ambitious just for the name or for the fame or for the money or for the useful things you can do like generosity for the future, but at least to do as much as you can to nourish that association and communication, inner circle. Conversations in art, whether it's with a child or whether it's with husband and wife or friends. Used to be years ago, we wrote letters that only got sent or, received once in a while. Now we just jump on the phone and talk. But back then, people seemed to take thoughtful care about putting into words how they really felt. And it's easy to be a bit too casual and not put as much how you really care into language, especially when we're talking all day long and all day long. It's hard to be that unique when we really would like to be unique, say something extraordinary about how we feel, but it gets lost in sort of the mundane, ordinary conversation rather than taking the time to say something unique about how you care and about how you feel. When Judy, my wife, and I, when we parted ways, there's a chance to be, it's one expression called born again or reborn. We have a father for the first time as well as a new baby. We have a new father. So it's the new baby's life to work out. Now it's also the new father's life. And probably as a father, best instruction would be to study and practice and work hard at seeing if you couldn't be a Class A father. If it's the mother's first time, we have a brand new baby but a brand new mother. Now that she has a chance to live a brand new life, different life experience than ever before, shouldn't she study and practice and learn and listen, try to find ways to become a Class A mother? About 16 years ago, I became a grandfather, and I have practiced diligently now the last 16 years of being a 5-star grandfather to my 2 grandchildren, Nathaniel and Natalie. They're exceptional, highly talented. I just published a book of my granddaughter's poems that she wrote when she was 12, and the art illustration by her brother Nathaniel. I Love What I See is the title, by Natalie Pangrazio. Now she's 15, and she's written now a collection of 10 stories for children. And her brother, Nathaniel, is an accomplished classical pianist. He writes music, sends it off for competition. These are talented kids, artists and writers and musicians at such a young age. So what I've done is try to specialize, helping my granddaughter publish this book when she was, 14. The poem she wrote when she was 12. It's really good. I've got to read you something. I told you about my granddaughter, Natalie. She wrote these poems, and we're publishing them, and here's one when she was 12. It's called Metaphors of Flowers. From those whose imaginations love to take flight, they will use even a flower to determine wrong from right. An iris is like wisdom, the deep color like the depth of knowledge, and the yellow like the bright ideas one receives. The knowledge spreads upwards, as do the iris's leaves. A lily is simplicity like the whiteness of its flower, but in simplicity there is beauty like the yellow stamen's tower. Truth is like a dandelion, which is bold and has not sinned, and truth is spread far and wide like dandelion seeds upon the wind. They soon find a place to rest and grow in someone's heart, and the cycle begins again just as it did start. A daisy is like happiness and spreads its face to the sun. It loves everything around it and in everything finds fun. Hate is like a thistle, which is awful and sharp to the touch. It combines envy, anger, and most of all, disgust. And finally, best of all, love represents a rose. Love is sweet to your heart as a rose is to your nose. Love combines trust, hope, faith, and integrity. There are good paths and bad paths, and no matter which one you chose, love is just as sweet as the loveliest rose. My granddaughter. So I don't straighten this stuff out anymore. Anyway, it said some that heard this magnificent presentation didn't know what was going on. And they're usually easy to spot. They're usually saying, what's going on, right? I mean, they don't know what's going on. But interesting, right? A variety of reaction to the same sincere, honest presentation. Now, it also says, in wrapping it up, some that heard presentation believe. And I think that's who the speaker was looking for, the believer. Now, it said the number of believers was about 3,000. So, pretty good first day, 3,000. I've had some first days, but I never had 3,000. But anyway, 3,000 were believers. And that's, the speaker was looking for the believers out of this multitude. And that's about as close as we can come to understanding the mystery. Some believe and some mock, some laugh, some are perplexed, some don't know what's going on. And you just have to leave it that. Why? Because that's the way it's going to be. The way to be brilliant is to find out how it's going to be and then say, here's how it should be. And that's how you become brilliant. So, anyway, who knows the mystery? I call it mysteries of the mind. We don't understand. But I don't try to change it anymore. On this particular story, as far as we know, they didn't have classes after the presentation to try to de-perplex the perplexed. I mean, as far as we know, they left them perplexed. They left the mockers mocking. They let the laughers laugh. I mean, they didn't come back and try to straighten all this out. You say, well, how can you build a church? Well, make another presentation, and you'll get some believers and some mockers, perhaps some who don't know what's on. So that's about the best. So, but I'm glad I've got the believers here today. You believe enough, shell out your cash, and part with your time and some of your effort and energy, and I appreciate it. So, hopefully you'll find some inspiration here today, all right? To get the most out of today, a couple more notes. Number one, be thankful. That's a good way to capture the most of a day like this. Be thankful for what you already have. That shouldn't be any problem in America, being thankful. Everything we need is available in America. Everybody wants to come here, right? The last time I was here, that little presentation I gave, everybody wants to come here, America. People haven't plotted and schemed the last 40 years saying if I could just skip Poland, everything would be okay. No, everybody wants to come to America. Why? Everything's available here. All the books you need, all the sermons you need, all the churches you need, all the schools you need, all the instruction you need, all the inspiration you need, all the capital you need, all the markets you need, all the challenge you need, all the information you need, all the seminars you need. Everything's available here. This is America. So number one, let's be thankful for what we already have. Thanksgiving does this. Opens up the doors, opens up the windows, opens up the channels. Thanksgiving for what you already have.
See, when I was in the 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded. Put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I have no college training. And a man changed my life, and I'll never forget his name, Mr. Leroy Washington. He's in his 80s now, and he's blind from glaucoma, but he gave me a different vision of myself. I was in his class waiting on another student. He came in and said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. I'm in special education. And the students started laughing. They said, that's Leslie. That's not Wesley. He's DT. Wesley is the smart twin. He said, what does DT stand for? I said, I'm the dumb twin, sir. And as the students laughed at me, he came from behind his desk. He looked at me and he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated, because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so we developed a relationship. And one of the things that I can just tell you as you think about your goals and dreams, all of us can say in a spirit of integrity that it's possible, that if anybody at any point in time lived their dream, then it's possible that I can live mine. And what I did was, I made a mistake. I looked at my goals and dreams, and my mind said, how will you do that? I went from my heart to my mind, and I stayed up there for 14 years. 14 years. I can't bring those 14 years back. Those years are gone. And I've made a mission in my life to help people to stop putting it off and procrastinating. How many ever thought about something you wanted to do and you procrastinated? You talked yourself out of it. Raise your hand, please. There's a proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. And so, as you look at your goals and dreams, every day we must convince ourselves, we must sell ourselves on that it's possible. Every seminar, every workshop, every book that I've ever read, every speech speaker that I've ever heard. It interrupted what I was believing about myself. Everything that you do, everything matters. As you go through each day, I know now as I look back at age 63, looking at my life, everything matters. T. Harvey's right. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I realized that the choices I was making was based upon how I saw myself. Let us say together, it's necessary.
So I wanted to be rich. I started in a financial company. I'm like, hey, I can't be driving around like, I had a Honda CRX. And everywhere I go to appointments, by the way, someone broke into my car. It's a true story. Someone broke into my Honda CRX, and instead of, the radio had already been stolen. I was parked at LA University. It's no joke, I had an appointment there. I came out, they stole the passenger seat. Who the hell steals a passenger seat? Like, are you looking around? I gotta get a passenger seat of a Honda CRX, right? Dude steals my passenger seat. I assume it was a dude. So I'm like, I gotta get a car. I'm driving around, The Rock is my passenger seat, trying to be this big baller financial dude. Any of you relate to that? Like, you, maybe even COVID did it to you. Like, hey, I was doing pretty good, but right now I'm pretending as hell, right? And oftentimes, all our careers, we can feel like an imposter. I remember even as I started to do, I'm like, this is a fluke. They're gonna figure out I fluked this. Somehow I'm gonna come back to where I belong. I thought that for years. I was worried for years I was gonna lose what I had gained because they're gonna figure out what a dumbass I am. Because I've been told that when I was a kid over and over again. So I thought, man, I need to drive a Mercedes for people to take me damn serious. The problem is I had this like champagne dream on like a Schlitz beer budget. So I'm reading in the Penny Saver and it says kit car Mercedes. Here's the one of the articles right here. Up for sale or trade. I have a one-of-a-kind 1997 Mercedes-Benz 600 convertible kit car that's built on an 88 Chrysler LeBaron frame. You think I'm playing with you? I read this article in the Penny Saver. I'm like, hey, what is a kit car? I started Googling it. Turns out you can get a Chrysler LeBaron, strip that sucker of the frame, and you can weld onto it a Mercedes body. Everybody will think you have a Mercedes. I'm not playing with you. I did this. $4,000 instead of $44,000. I'm like, that's a damn deal, right? And so, no, it gets better. The deal though is if you really know cars, it's 2 feet longer. So when you're driving it, car people are pointing at you like, what the hell is that thing? And it rattles. So I find this one for $4,000. I drive down to Dana Point and I meet this young lady. I'm pretty sure there may be some methamphetamine involved in her existence at the time. And I'm like, tell me about your kit car. And she comes out, she kind of waddles out. She goes, well, this one's not exactly like the other ones. I'm like, so they weld these things together? She goes, yeah, typically, but this one is Velcroed. It's Velcroed. I'm like, explain that to me. She said, we couldn't afford the welding, so my ex-boyfriend Velcroed the kit to the car. I'm not playing with you. It's a true story. So she goes, I'm just warning you, if you buy this thing, the heater blows full time, because it's a LeBaron, and if you pull up to a stoplight too fast and hit the brakes, this front headlight will fly out into that intersection, because the Velcro's loose. I'm like, I got it, no problem. I give her the $4,000, and I start driving around this kit car. Now, thank God, you think I'm social media star now? I'd have been viral as hell back in 1997, because what I would do more than 100 times, Mr. Jets and all that stuff here, more than 100 times, there you go, full fiberglass body. By the way, do you have any idea which one's the real one? Can you tell from the picture? Which one? The left? Which is the left? The blue or the gray? Which real? Which one? Gray's the real one? Right on. Nong. Nope, the gray one is the fake one. That's my old ride. See that left front light right there? Notice the little gap right there? Isn't that awesome? That left front light, more than 100 times I have pulled up to an intersection. Thank God there was no social media. There weren't cameras on phones back in the day. I pulled up in my cheap suit and that front headlight went whoop out into an intersection. I would get out of my car, stop freaking traffic. You imagine you sitting at a headlight watching some asshole pull out his, I'm picking up my headlight. I would walk back to my own car, stick it back on, and then jump back in the car again. And just look straight ahead. Except about 20 of those times, I was so wound up and doing it fast, I slammed the door, fell right back off the car. Velcro got me. I lived in that car for 2 years. I actually got arrested in it. Got arrested in it because I got pulled over. I had my whole sales team at a retreat like this. They all thought it was a Mercedes. I had lied to them. I said, this is the first ever hybrid. Because at that time, Mercedes and Chrysler had merged. No joke. Go look it up. And I'm like, hey, this is the first ever hybrid car. These are going to be all over the place. That's why the inside looks like a LeBaron. The outside's a Benz. Lied my ass off. Facts tell, stories sell. So we're in a retreat like this. I got 20 of my top dudes with me. And I've got a guy with me. My best friend is a guy named Dan Charlier. Dan Charlier is an African-American man. Okay? He's my best friend. I was best man at 3 of his weddings. So trust me, I'm best friends with him. Okay? And Charlier, we're going to a place called Lodi, California. Charlier says to me, hey man, there's no brothers in Lodi. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, dude, we're going to get pulled over in Lodi. I'm like, get out of here. This whole race white thing, you're crazy. He goes, brother, there's no brothers in Lodi. Sure enough, we leave this retreat. We're driving. I get lost. We get pulled over. He goes, I told you. Next thing I know, my whole sales team is 20 cars back about 100 yards watching this take place. Cop comes up to the car. He says, stick your hands out of the car. I said, sir, what is this all about? He said, get my hands out, opens the door, cuffs me, puts me in the back of a police car. I'm back there for about 30 minutes. Charlie Ace to my right is like, I told you, dude, we are driving while black. And I'm like, Dan, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. He's like, brother, trust me. Finally, after about 30 minutes, the guy comes up, the cop, I said, sir, what am I being arrested for? Now other cop cars have come up, they're shining lights in my car. I know my whole sales team's back there like, Violet's always wound up. He's probably got some coke or something in the car, right? Which, by the way, I've never done any drugs in my life, right? Well, testosterone, but that's a whole other conversation. So anyway, so he pulls up to the car. I said, sir, what is this all about? He says, it's a stolen vehicle and you know it. Sure enough, he comes back to the car. He said, sir, why do you believe the car's stolen? He goes, they're fake plates. I said, no, sir, this is gonna sound crazy. That's actually a Chrysler LeBaron you're looking at. He's like, nah, is this turning into a DUI, boy? I'm like, no, sir, it's a Chrysler LeBaron. If you go pull on my front door, it'll come right off. It's Velcroed on there. Imagine the look on his face. What the hell did you say? I said, the front door is Velcroed onto the car, sir. Go pull on it. Sure enough, him and the other cop walk up, pull on my front door. They are falling out laughing. Spins my door and throws it into the bushes. I get out of the car and he tells me to take off. That's the story of me wanting to be somebody. So I don't know where you're at right now, but are you slightly ahead of a Velcroed together Mercedes? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, that's me. You're welcome. Don't ever tell anybody that story again, okay?
You done done something that so many people never do. I ain't got one. You graduating from college. I ain't do that. I ain't graduating from college. I got no formal education. But look at me though. I'm finna teach you something now. I'm finna show you something. See, now a large part of this speech is gonna be done using improper grammar, cause I don't have that either. I ain't never really talked that good. Ain't really my thing. If you in here and you well spoken, I commend you, and you gonna need that. In a lot of places you going, you can't be a doctor and talk like this here. You're not gonna, you're not. You can't be a professor, a teacher. You can't be in the society that a lot of y'all trying to get in. See, they've been trying to change me for a long time. When I first got on TV, me and Said the Entertainer was on the Steve Harvey show, and they hired, I don't even know what they call it, this lady, white lady came in, and she was a linguistic, and she was a linguist coach, whatever. And when she came in the room, I was confused. Me and Said was sitting there because she didn't have no pots with her or nothing, because I thought that was pasta. So when she came in there with the linguistics, whatever, I thought it was a cooking class for pasta. So me and Said sitting there looking just as crazy. And the lady started telling me that they've decided that you need to speak more properly. You need to learn how to enunciate your word. I stopped her. I said, do you mean pronunciate? That lady looked so confused. This is a true story. And she said, no, Mr. Harvey, if you hope to one day be in millions of homes across America, you're going to have to be more verbally communicative and more understood. I said, that ain't how I do it. She looked so confused. She said, you're going to have to change the way you sound. I said, let me ask you something. Which one of these sound better to you? I am broke or I'm is rich? That lady's shaking her head. It's all right. When you leave here, young people, my message is really for everybody in this building. I want to challenge you to something today. See, I don't know what the theme of your graduation is. You know, you go to these places and they have fire and spirit. They have a theme of excellence is worth excelling. I don't know what your theme is. I didn't ask nobody. You know, they might have emailed it to me, but I got 2,500 unread emails in my email box right now. But I want to challenge you something. What you've done up until now has been an amazing accomplishment. I take my hat off to you. What you've accomplished shouldn't be played short. And you have so far to this point become successful. But I'm challenging everybody in this graduating class. See, being successful is what everybody wants. Everybody I know want to be two things. They want to be happy and they want to be successful. But I'm going to challenge you today. I want you to go a little bit past successful. I want somebody in here to go up out of here and be great. There is a difference, you know. There is a difference between success and greatness. Success, you get your degree, that's successful. You get a job, that's successful. You raise a family, that's successful. So far, the success you have has been for yourself. You're successful. Congratulations. But you didn't get this piece of success by yourself. You see these people wrap around this building? You think you proud. Lord have mercy. There's some people up there got their chest stuck out so far. You have to understand the sacrifice that these people in here then put so you can be right there, so you can be successful. Some of y'all first-time graduates in your family, first time ever going to college in your family. Some of y'all trying to continue a legacy of people around here that have been to college and want their kids to graduate too. Whatever the case though, people up in here, man, sacrifice for you to get here so you could be successful. You went to college to become successful. But I'm going to ask you something. I need 30 of y'all to go out of here and be great. I need just 30 to go be great. You know, there's a difference, you know. Success is for yourself. You know, they told me one day, said, man, you know, basketball player get a big contract. He's successful. Great. No. He ain't great. He's successful. You make $100,000 a year. You ain't great. You successful. I want you to great. I want you to go out of here and be great. You know the difference between great and success? Great people change other people's lives. Great people put other people in front of them. Great people go back to their communities and change lives. Great people buy a big house up on the hill and then teach other people how to get up on the hill too. That's what great people do. Gandhi was great. Muhammad Ali was great. Martin Luther King was great. They was great. They made other people great. Muhammad Ali said, I said I was the greatest before I was the greatest. You got to claim greatness, man, or you can just be successful. Go on, get your job. Go on and make your money. But man, you change somebody's life, you can be great. We need somebody from ASU to go up out of here and become great. Be a life changer. Change some boys' lives, some girls' lives. Show somebody how you got a college degree. That's the beginning of greatness.
Just keep a journal, right? If I was here, I had my journal, I'd be taking notes, right? These 2 days in my journal. Now, if you're caught without your journal, you just take the notes. When you get back home, you put those notes in your journal, throw the paper away. Because we don't usually go through paper to review. But see, my journals now make up a significant part of my own library. My journal's all reserved privately for my children and my grandchildren. Can you imagine what I've collected over the years? It's unbelievable. There are 3 treasures to leave behind. Here they are. Number 1, your pictures. Don't leave the event unrecorded. It takes only a fraction of a second to say, here's who I was with. When I travel the world, we take all these pictures. And here's one of the gifts. People send me the pictures they took of me and them. It's part of the treasures I have on the farm. Incredible. A picture's worth 1,000 words to describe the scene, the emotion, what happened. Say, wow, this was an extraordinary day for me when I met these people. Here's what they told me happened to them when they went to my seminar 10 years ago. Wow, the drama comes back if you've taken the pictures. It's one of the treasures to leave behind when you go. Remember the old photographs that we have now of, 100 years ago, 70, 80 years ago, just a few photographs? What would it be like if you had thousands of photographs of the past, of your history, your mother, your father, right? Grandparents? So change all of that now for your children. Leave all your photographs as a record. Here's what's next to leave behind, and that's your library. The books that changed your life, the books that changed your health, the books that rescued you from oblivion, the books that you passed on to other people. They were so exciting for you. The books that made you financially independent, the books that developed your leadership, the books that gave you wisdom to ponder when things were tough, the books that got you through the winter, the books that helped you to plant in the spring and harvest in the fall. Don't let too much time pass without staying in touch. If we probably took a survey right now, here are the 20 most important people in my life. How long has it been since I sat down with this one or called this one or wrote a letter to this one? We'd probably say, wow, the man is right. Just that little comment, making a list of 20 and saying how long has it been, I can see where for some of them it's been too long, that are considered very close friends. We just have to pay more attention. And I just now thought about that. Make a list of 20 and say, how long has it been? We try to think of it. We make a phone call. I say, wow, it's been too long. Got to have lunch. We got to get together. And some that may live in your own community where it's a little easier to stay in touch. But, some of our friends are not close by. Staying in touch is just a vitally important part of developing a good relationship. Take care of those things that matter. What doesn't matter to you, say if nobody calls me on my birthday, that doesn't matter. But for someone else, it does matter. So you just make sure that gets done. Those kind of things. It's easy, especially in a busy society. And like myself, getting on an airplane, flying off to some other country and be so busy doing that and the preparation for doing it and then recovering when you get home, it's easy to let things slide. But we always later have some regrets that we didn't stay in touch more often, especially somebody older that passes, right? We say, wow, I should have made more phone calls and stayed in touch. But whatever it takes to keep a good relationship going. It's like tending a garden. You can't let it go too long without tending the things that matter, making sure it flourishes, something well nourished, which is true of all of our values. We must protect them like a father, nourish them like a mother, to make sure they give us full value. And then be of full value to someone, not that you have to be around all the time, but to be available. There's an ancient phrase, here's what it says: if you try to save your life, you will lose it. But if you will lose your life, meaning if you will invest your life, that's the best way to save it and to multiply it many times over. So here's the phrase: investing life into life has the potential of creating miracles. Investing life into life. Investing life into life creates a new baby. But investing life into life with ideas, information, association, influence can create enterprise, can create a corporation, can create a business, can create a movement, can create something that benefits many more people than just those few that might have invested in each other's lives. So that should be one of your goals, is to be valuable enough to invest in somebody else's life, starting first if you're married with your children, and then invest in each other. Marriage and friendship, These associations are a chance to invest in each other, a business enterprise.